Hey everybody, it's Mike with today's debrief recap of the discussion we had at lunch on social well-being. So it's well-being week in law. Today's theme, social well-being, and the importance of social interaction in communities and making connections within those communities, hunting out communities to be part of, hunting out connections within those communities. Thanks to everybody who participated today. I thought it was great. I thought it was going to be kind of boring. I thought that this would be the least interesting discussion of the week because everybody understands how important social interaction is, especially right now after going a little bit more than a year now without having any, or some certainly greatly reduced social interactions with people who are important to us. But there's the discussion was really, really good. I have three takeaways. First, lawyers were clear today that, I had mentioned in the video, and I think I undervalued this. I had mentioned that there are sub-communities, if you will, within the larger legal community that we can be part of, whether it's the VBA's practice areas sections or an inn of court, and that there's value in making connections within those communities. People were clear that there's more value than even I had realized. That whether it's just getting to be on a listserv with the same people who practice in with people who practice in the same area as you, and the support they can provide when it comes to just having a question about, hey, how do you do this? And then from there, how talking about how do you handle this or how do you do that eventually leads into discussions of non-legal things, where you realize that these people with whom you share a common bond anyway, there are those in that community that a smaller number who you share other common bonds with outside the law, and how it's helpful both as a lawyer and then to get to know these people in a different context and forge a new connection with them, if you will. So that was one takeaway. So look for those opportunities, whether it's the bankruptcy section, intellectual property section, or joining an inn of court. And like the inn of court, great opportunity to get together monthly and meet and just sit down, and there's going to be some law talk, but there's also dinner table talk where you talk like people, not like lawyers, and you learn things about people. You find out, you hunt out, and common bonds that maybe allow you to create a new community, or maybe at least forge a new connection within a community you're already part of. I also had to take away that, and this has been a personal, I wouldn't say feeling of mine, but I really relate to this and always have, that, hey, if social interaction is your thing and you don't want it to be in the law because you want to connect with people who have nothing to do with the law, that's fine. That's great. I've been clear that wellness is not one size fits all. But just don't forget, for those of you, there are opportunities within the law. Vermont lawyers doing a great job. People are connected and part of so many different communities around the state that have nothing to do with the law. So I have no worries there. If you're not doing that, find something. Remember, you got to find something to do that's not being a lawyer 24/7. You got to find some non-law interest, hunt those communities out, find people to make connections within those communities. Again, I'm more than willing to start those here in the Vermont bar. Yes, it'll be lawyers and other legal professionals, but there's a subgroup of us who run. There's a subgroup of us who are musicians. There are subgroups of us who do tons of different things. And that'd be a great way to make new connections with people you're already sharing a common bond. You're part of the same profession. And then finally, this probably was what we talked about the most, that when it comes to social connections, we miss them. We miss them more than we thought. And on the one hand, we're both excited that we're close to being able to be social again, but there's also a little bit of, I wouldn't say maybe trepidation or reluctance, or maybe it's just questioning, like, what's it going to be like? Like, you see someone you haven't seen in a while. Can you shake their hand? Can I give them a hug? Are we supposed to have our masks on all the time? And, people are wondering, people are they're looking forward to it, but they also understand that it's going to be different. And if you're, if, if you're, I guess my point is that if you're nervous or wondering what it's going to be like, you're not alone. Everybody else is thinking the same thing. And I know we're going to work through it, and we're going to work through it together, and it's going to be great. But just the point is, when it comes to wellness, you're never alone. If you are feeling like, man, I don't want to get together again, I'm not sure it's safe. Hey, there's other people who feel that way. If you're thinking, I can't believe we aren't back together right now, we should have been a month ago, there's other people who feel that way too. None of us are in this alone. We're all in it together. So remember, and then my last takeaway, sorry, I had four. These lunchtime discussions we've been having, I think are great, no matter what we talk about. So another commitment I'm going to make, yesterday I committed to learning how to make bread. And by the way, the bread making community in the Vermont legal profession is gigantic. It's the fastest growing one, clearly the most popular, and we welcome more people to join. What was I going to say? Oh, social interaction and social connections. I'm going to also commit as part of social well-being. I'll keep holding these noontime discussions every Thursday at 12 by Zoom. Come if you want. If you don't want to come, no big deal. Who knows what we'll talk about, but it'll just be a good way to get together once a week. Maybe I'll have some in the morning sometimes. I should even do that. People who want to have like a coffee discussion. Maybe some week I'll actually have like a happy hour discussion. Who knows? But ways that lawyers, legal professionals can get together and just talk. Because to me, that has been the best part about this week. It isn't necessarily the subject matter area. It's seeing the people who have been participating and just being in a discussion, being social. And isn't that what we're talking about today? The communities, the connections, and the social aspect of well-being. Looking forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow, I think, is my favorite topic of the week, emotional intelligence. A lot of what I'm going to talk about, I draw on from my experience as a coach, and I'm looking forward to sharing some thoughts. We're going to get together again at noon on Zoom. I'll send out the link tomorrow morning in the blog post, but if you're able, join, either just to listen, to share, do both. It's been fantastic. Thanks for listening. That's your debrief on Thursday. Have a great night.